Since 2004, Iowa livestock farmers have turned to the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers for free, confidential, and expert assistance in raising livestock responsibly and successfully. Join us at the fence line to hear from industry experts and farmers about topics important to livestock agriculture here in Iowa. The fence line, where the gates always open. Bob Quinn here with another edition of The Fence Line. The Fence Line is a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. They're the livestock folks here in the state. If you have questions about livestock operations moving forward on your farm, or maybe you're thinking about bringing some young people back into the operation, or want to talk about rules and regulations when it comes to things like manure management, the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers should be your first call. Now, you can find out more about the Coalition at supportfarmers.com. One thing we do on the Big Show is cooperate with the Coalition on many different programs. One of those is the Farming for Your Future Friday. This is an opportunity to work with some of those folks who support the Coalition and find out more about their operation and, more importantly, look into the year ahead from the aspect of their particular farming area. Today, we're working with the Iowa corn growers. We recently did a broadcast on the Steve Kuiper farm near Otley, Iowa. Now, the Kuipers farm around Lake Red Rock. We were there late fall, which would have been a good day to do some harvest had it not rained a couple of inches. And it was a cold day as well. Let's catch up with Steve Kuiper. I'll tell you what, we are here on behalf of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers today and the Iowa corn growers, Farming for Your Future Friday. And a couple of days ago, it would have been a nice warm day to be out here. We're outdoors. We're with Steve Kuiper. We're on his farm. Steve, you're near Otley, Iowa. And number one, it's a little on the cool side. Looks like it's wet, too. You had some rain here.
Yeah, we had about 2 inches of that slow, dribbly rain. It's really made things pretty soft.
I will tell you, though, I came around the lake, and I'm talking about Lake Red Rock.
Yep.
And it's on the low side.
It's very low. It's the lowest I've seen it for years.
So how's your rain been throughout the year?
Very spotty. If you're around the lake here, we were about 8 inches ahead of everything else. When you get south, like towards the Bussy Attica area, It was very dry. Over towards Oskaloosa, we were dry, but we had timely rains, and so those timely rains really helped that crop.
Well, you're on the board of the Iowa Corn Growers.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit about not so much growing corn, but using corn.
Yep.
So one of your charges is kind of finding new uses for a product we do very well here in Iowa.
So I'm on the research committee, and we're working extensively to try and find new uses for corn, new plastics that we can produce out of corn. One of the things we've been involved in a lot lately this past year is making fabrics out of corn.
Making fabric?
Yes, so like your Lululemon clothing, some of those type of products are made from corn. There's a new plant going up.
Now, for folks who may not know what Lululemon is, because they're a little on
their wives will know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I would call them probably like the designer high-end. You wear the label instead of curl it under like I do on my clothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there's a new plant going up at Eddyville, adjacent to the Cargill plant, that's going to use about 30,000 bushels a day to produce fabric.
No kidding.
So that's the
What's
start.
It look like? What's the fabric look like?
It just looks like everything that we have on right now. There's several companies that are doing it, and you can't tell the difference between that clothing and the clothing we're wearing right now.
30,000 bushels a day.
Yes.
Son of a gun. A good local market, then.
That's a very good local market.
Yeah. What's the next aha moment, do you think, for corn?
For corn, I think, we need to keep hammering on biofuels. The next aha is, we're working into a lot of plastics. That's some of the stuff that Iowa Corn has been very involved in. At some point here, we will have some newer products coming out that I think would have the potential to be some big uses of corn.
Well, we continue to do a fabulous job at producing corn.
Yes, we do.
And we'd like to find those aha moments to continue doing a fabulous job at using corn.
Yep.
We got a lot of competition in the world. I got to tell you, right now, we're not we may be the most abundant supply in many areas, but we're not the cheapest. We're still getting undercut on price.
We are, yeah. And part of it's logistics.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right now, the Mississippi River is really low, so their cost to deliver to the Gulf is higher. This drought situation that we've had for several years in the Midwest is kind of hurt some of that stuff. But everything will change. Brazil and Argentina, they'll have a dry spell where they won't have the most abundant supply, and it'll turn around. We still need to do a lot with some of these other growing countries. We spent a lot of time with the U.S. Grains Council. We had a group from South Korea out to our farm to look to buy corn. At that time they were out, we were harvesting soybeans, but they were still interested in what we were doing. We've had groups from South Korea, Vietnam. We've had some folks from China. But, all those countries out there in that Asian Pacific area are all clamoring to buy our grains. Iowa Corn also works with the U.S. Meat Federation, and so they want to buy better cuts of meat to feed their folks.
Yeah.
Those folks are emerging from a third world status, and those folks want to have a better food supply.
Isn't it kind of gratifying knowing the world wants that product that you're growing right here?
Yes.
Near Knoxville, Iowa, near Ottley, Iowa. Visiting with Iowa corn grower Steve Kuiper, he was hosting a recent Big Show broadcast on his farm in Marion County. Well, we talk about the fence line as being a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. Let's check in with Brian Waddingham. We are talking on the telephone line with us as well, Brian, to one of our Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award winners in the past. We have Stu Swanson, who's with the Iowa Corn Growers here, and we are being brought to you, of course, by the Iowa Corn Growers today. First Vice President Stu Swanson back with us. Hey, Stu, how you doing? Again, I wish you were here with us today.
Yeah, I would love to be there as well. We were hoping we'd be a little more.
I'll bet you would.
A little bit of rain slows progress down, but looking to get back at it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the Iowa corn growers. And we heard from Steve Kuiper a little bit ago. We're at Steve's farm, by the way, near Knoxville. And he was talking about investing in programs from a corn grower perspective, like the U.S. Meat Export Federation, U.S. Grains Council. Why is that important to you guys?
Yeah, the long history of the relationship between livestock producers and crop producers it plays a part in everything that we do. We understand the importance of us raising a crop that the livestock people need. We can use some of our byproducts that we produce from ethanol plants to help feed those livestock species. And then, of course, we need the manure coming back to our operations. It helps create that sustainability part of row crop production that's very important to the state of Iowa. But we need feed business, we need export business, we need the ethanol business, and some of those exciting things like Steve talked about as well. But it takes that starting relationship between the coalition of farmers working with neighbors to help develop those products that we need to export around the world.
Stu Swanson, board member with the Iowa Corn Growers, talking about the importance of a group like the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers for the livestock industry here in the state. We are here on behalf of the Iowa Corn Growers Association today, being sponsored and hosted at the Kuiper Farm here in Marion County. And we are also, of course, presenting Farming for Your Future Friday here on behalf of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. And one person who bridges both of those organizations, both corn growers and the coalition, is Jolene Reeson. She's on the telephone line with us. Jolene, Iowa Corn Grower Association president and Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award winner. Welcome back to the Big Show. How are you doing harvest-wise?
We're shut down for right now. We had quite a bit of rain here the other day, so probably about if the rain wouldn't have been, we'd have been done this week. But we got probably 3-4 more days to go before we'd be done. So anyway, it's cold, and I know the Coalition to Support Farmers works a lot with the livestock, and I just want you to know I'm watching a gate as we're doing this, and we are bedding cattle because it's going to get cold up here. So. But, I was very honored with my award, the Oregon award. It was amazing. It was a tremendous program. I I was so humbled in receiving that because, to be honest with you, I don't think I do anything different than any other farmer out here in the state of Iowa that do. If somebody needs help, you just, make the call, or you just show up and you do your thing. And that's, to me, that's what being a good neighbor is about. And that's what being Iowan is about. We're just that way. And I'm just so proud of our state. It's just, I think a lot of states are envious of what we have here.
Well, Jolene, I'm going to hop in there and say that we are looking for our next batch of Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award winners to honor next year. And you can nominate your Good Farm Neighbor by going to the website, supportfarmers.com. Again, supportfarmers.com. And we'd love to be at your farm, just like we visited Jolene's farm, and just like we have visited the Swanson farms. Stu Swanson on with us a little bit ago, also one of our Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award winners. Jolene, I want to talk a little bit about how the corn growers, though, mesh with the livestock industry. The coalition represents livestock folks, livestock producers, and they keep up on rules and regulations and things in the livestock area. Corn growers, though, that livestock industry is very important because it takes a lot of corn, only second to ethanol, I believe, in the amount of usage that comes out of our cornfields. Correct.
I mean, so livestock is, next to corn growing, the ethanol part of it is our number one consumer of our corn, and by doing that, we are value adding our corn. So we're making jobs, we're making great communities for everybody out here in rural Iowa. So it's just a super, super important industry to us in the Corn Growers Association. We certainly can't run it all through ethanol, and besides the ethanol, we have the byproduct there as to the DDGs, which goes right back into the livestock industry. So we're value adding and making a great product.
We'll talk a little bit about the future of corn growing here in the state of Iowa, Jolene. You're talking to some young folks, and they're getting excited about agriculture, and that's one of our staple crops here between corn and soybeans. That's kind of what we do very well here in the state of Iowa. What's the future look like?
Well, I think it looks incredibly bright. I have my two sons are back with me on the farm. By what we do with the Corn Growers Association, we help to build markets. We work with the MAP and FMD to get foreign markets happening. We have to export. We are so good at what we do. If we don't export, it hurts our prices. So we work on that all the time. That is like one of the number one things that we do work with the Corn Growers Association. So just know that we are working hard to find more markets and to find new uses for our corn. So basically anything oil can do, corn can do better.
Hey, Jolene, thanks so much for talking to us a little bit today. Jolene Reeson, Iowa Corn Grower Association President, Oregon Good Farm Neighbor Award winner, as well as we continue talking about farming for your future Fridays here on The Big Show on behalf of the Iowa Corn Growers today and the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. And we are going back out into the field talking about corn market development. And we are talking about farming for your future here, being brought to you by the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers, and as you mentioned, supported today by the Iowa Corn Growers. Ryan Sowers, Vice President of Market Development at Iowa Corn. And Ryan, we have been talking about the fact that we do a whale of a job producing corn. And one of the charges of the corn growers is to find something to use this corn for and some new uses for corn. And that's kind of where you come in here, market development. Talk a little bit about partnerships you have to help soak up this corn crop we have.
Well, thanks, Bob. Thanks for having me. One of the things that we're pretty proud of at Iowa Corn is really working to expand markets for corn in all forms. Just recently, I had the opportunity to go with the U.S. Grains Council over to Vietnam. And we were able to sit down with the Vietnamese government and really have some very in-depth conversations about how we can get more ethanol moving into that country. They want to use that ethanol to help them decarbonize. They see it as an opportunity to do so. And so that's just one opportunity that we had with the Grains Council. We also work a lot with the U.S. Meat Export Federation. That's been a great organization. They primarily focus on beef and pork exports across the globe. And when you look at all the beef and pork exports that were exported last year, it contributed to about $1 per bushel of U.S. corn value in the United States. So those are two really important organizations that we help support.
Well, and the livestock industry, we talk about the ethanol industry, and you hit that. That's our number one user of corn. Livestock industry, a close number two, though, and it's a very important industry, especially when you look at ethanol. You get livestock feed out of that as well.
You do, yeah. You get, obviously, well, the ethanol, you get the DDGs from the ethanol, but then from the livestock side of things, the livestock side is just the biggest demand for corn. When you add the DDGs in and you look at the corn usage, it's the largest consumer of corn today.
Talk about developing markets and new markets. You mentioned Vietnam. I would think that's probably on the smaller side, but still a new market. Where else are corn growers looking to develop markets?
Well, we're working a lot in the United States as well. Obviously, we're working to get year-round E15. That would help a lot for demand for U.S. corn. But we've also we're doing a lot of work on just on the ethanol side as well when it comes to working with retail partners like Quick Trip and some of the other retail partners. We're working in California. You know, California is one of the largest ethanol markets today, and so it's a 14 billion gallon gasoline market. And so, and when you look at the spread between gasoline and ethanol out there, it's about $1.50 to $2 a gallon. So there's a huge opportunity for ethanol in California to expand that market as well.
I know there's also a huge opportunity to develop in the airline industry.
There is, yeah. We're spending a lot of time on sustainable aviation fuel. That's a very important market as you look into the future.
Bigger than automobile market.
It is. It could potentially be. You know, we don't want to take our eye off the ball when it comes to the on-road fuel use, but at the end of the day, sustainable aviation fuel is certainly a big one coming. You know, there's a lot of work that's going into that in terms of getting the modeling right, getting carbon capture in place to be able to do that. But those are very, very important future markets for us.
You know, we talk about carbon capture and we talk about soil health. And, you know, we may be getting a little far away from the actual corn production side, but that's more and more the watchword and the buzzwords when we talk about row crop agriculture and from the corn growing aspect.
It is. And at the end of the day, we just got to look for these new markets because, you know, as you look at, you kind of mentioned it, but, you know, the American farmer, U.S. farmers, they continue to do what they do. They grow a lot of corn. We're going to have a lot of corn left at the end of this year. And one of the things that we're working hard on is to look for new markets for corn and find new uses. And when you look across the globe, you've got a lot of competition, right? Brazil's coming on really, really strong, and so we've got to continue to look for those new uses for corn.
And it looks like Brazil's going to be coming on with even more acres next year.
They are, yeah. They're coming on strong, and when you look at countries like China's bought a lot of corn from us. They're going to be down there sharing their overall purchase from us, but they're buying more from Brazil, and so we've got to continue to find those new uses.
Number one market for Iowa corn. This may surprise some folks. What's the number one market for Iowa corn?
Number one market for Iowa corn, it's livestock demand.
Livestock demand, ethanol demand, but Mexico probably
Mexico, that's
our
right.
largest receiver of corn. Now, we have a tremendous geographic advantage moving into Mexico. In other words, we're sitting right next to the country. But when we talk so much about the overseas market, we talk about China, we talk about in getting into the overseas market. Mexico, probably the biggest user of corn.
They are their biggest user of corn, and they're also the biggest user of DDGs.
And we have come to a situation right now where with white corn in particular, not what we grow here in Iowa, but white corn in particular, is an issue with Mexico. Hey, thanks so much for talking to us a little bit today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bob.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate the Iowa corn growers and the Iowa corn producer and the fact that they're our sponsor today. Iowa Corn, our sponsor today during the big show, also along with the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. We're talking about farming for the future. Farming for the Future Friday is a series we're starting here during the big show today, and we're going to continue that on into the first couple of months of next year. But it's going to be something we're going to be talking about with our producer groups and also led by the Coalition. And a reminder, you're listening to The Fence Line, a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. Well, let's get back out to the Kuiper Farm and wrap up our broadcast on behalf of the Coalition and the Iowa corn growers. We're just a stone's throw away. In fact, up and over the hill from Lake Red Rock. So a beautiful area of south central Iowa. And we are talking right now with Brian Waddingham with the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. Brian, one of the things we want to talk about is the series coming up that we're going to be running into the first couple of months of the year, the Farming for Your Future Fridays. And we're kind of looking forward to the upcoming year in Iowa agriculture, in particular in livestock agriculture as well. And planning for the future, that's kind of what you guys do with the coalition.
Yeah, that's right. We thought this would be just a great way to get the word out on programs and cost share options, low interest loans. If anybody's out there that's considering putting up a new livestock barn, maybe closing down some open feedlots to put up a barn, there are options out there. So we really wanted to delve into that a little bit and highlight some of those things that are available to livestock farmers.
How can folks get a hold of the coalition to find out more?
Best way, give us a call, 800-932-2436, or you can find us on the web at supportfarmers.com.
Supportfarmers.com, that's where you find the coalition to support Iowa's farmers. Hey, speaking of someone who has used the services of the coalition, Mike Versteeg is on the telephone line with us. Mike is also Iowa Corn Grower Association District 1 Director. First-hand experience working with the coalition. Mike, I believe you worked with these folks to site in a pig barn at your place.
That's right, Bob. We're up here in livestock-heavy northwest Iowa, Marion County.
Well, talk a little bit about working with the coalition. How'd you get started with them? What was your first step?
Well, I actually got a hold of them they're at the farm shows, so they're easy to get to hold of there and visit with them. And got to work with them to help us pick a good site for a hog barn. And, livestock farmers are great at taking care of their animals, and the Coalition to Support Iowa Farmers has the staff that's knowledgeable about different government and environmental regulations that we need to abide by. So they're just a wealth of information for helping any livestock farmer.
Well, we say they're the livestock folks here in the state of Iowa. They have the answers to your livestock questions. Again, the website to find out more is supportfarmers.com. Mike, talk a little bit about how the Iowa Corn Growers Association and corn growers kind of work with that livestock industry and the importance of the livestock industry to row crop agriculture.
Well, by the corn growers helping out the Coalition to Support Iowa Farmers, we're allowing livestock farmers in the state to be more productive and to be, help them find the locations they need to site these hog facilities or beef facilities, and through that they can utilize more, they can feed more livestock and utilize the corn that we grow. So it's a great combination.
Mike, what are some of the things you're working on in the committee area with the Iowa Corn Growers?
We're always looking at ways to promote corn by helping livestock producers, whether it's through the coalition or through U.S. Meat Export Federation, and supporting U.S. Meat Export Federation through promoting meat exports around the globe.
Well, we certainly appreciate the work that the Iowa corn growers do, and if there's any wonder what some of these organizations do for agriculture, you need a strong voice and you need a united voice, and that's what the Iowa corn growers do. They work on things like crop production, but they also work most importantly on future uses for corn and finding better and more diverse ways of using this corn crop here in the state of Iowa. Mike, thanks so much for visiting with us a little bit. Mike Versteeg with us. Couple of points of view talking from the Iowa Corn Growers Association, and also as one of the folks who have used the Coalition Support Iowa's Farmers services. And Brian Waddingham back with us. Now, Brian, Mike is a livestock producer in a very big pork-producing area of the state. You work with all species of livestock, though.
Yeah, that's right. Any species of livestock, any type of production practice, we work with all livestock farmers or even aspiring livestock farmers wanting to get a foot in the door with livestock.
Now, we are talking with the Iowa Corn Growers today. You're supported by the Iowa Corn Growers plus other commodity organizations.
Yeah, that's right. There's 8 other farm and commodity groups that make our work possible to go out and visit with farmers, all at no charge and completely confidential.
Now, who should be calling the coalition?
I think anybody that's looking to grow an existing farm or, again, start their own livestock operation should give us a call. No matter what it is you want to do, there are rules that are going to impact that. So we can just come out to the farm and help interpret those rules and how they apply to your specific farm.
Yeah, some of the things that I've asked you about in the past, anything from rules and regulations might be coming out of the Iowa legislature, anything new that might be coming up. I've even asked you if there's DNR inspections going on in the state.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot going on, a lot for farmers to be aware of, and if we can just help ease some of that pressure, take their mind off that, and let them focus on their livestock or their crops, that's really what the coalition's here to do.
How can we get a hold of you guys?
Give us a call, 800-932-2436, or find us on the web at supportfarmers.com.
Brian Waddingham with the Coalition, talking a little bit about how we can find out more about some of the programs being offered by the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. Well, friends, that's going to wrap up today's podcast. Thanks for joining us. A big thank you to the Iowa corn growers. And also remember, The Fence Line is a production of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers, where you can find out more at supportfarmers.com. Bob Quinn here, and I'll be talking to you again on the next edition of The Fence Line.